Hi everyone, this is Jen Crook here doing my video blog presentation for Hypermedia this week. Sorry about having to sit in my car and view that, but I sort of forgot that the kids were going to be home from school this week, so good times at our house. Before we get started, I would like you to pause this video and to go visit the link that I have listed below. It's a YouTube video, and so I couldn't embed it here in this vlog, but I want you to see that, and then that will set up the rest of my video blog presentation. Thanks. So, how'd you like that video? Before moving to Idaho a year ago, I was teaching in a 6th grade classroom, and as it came time to study the planets, I relied heavily on YouTube videos and Bill Nye the Science Guy to help guide my instruction when it came time to teach about space, because after all, a field trip to outer space doesn't really sound very realistic, although the kids would have loved it, right? The students were struggling to remember the order of the planets, so on the fly one day I just tried to Google a quick song that would help them remember the planets, and this is actually the first one that came up, and it is very annoying, and I do apologize for that, but guess what? That catchy tune was exactly what those kids needed that day, and they never forgot the order of the planets, and neither will I, because even when it came time to do the test, we were all humming that song, that tune, and no one will ever forget the order of the planets from that day. So even though it's pretty annoying, the kids loved it, as you can imagine. So this particular video, and the reason I showed it to you and millions like it all over the internet, is just because it's one small piece of a larger puzzle, and that would be called hypermedia. So what exactly is hypermedia? The definition, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, is a database format similar to hypertext, in which text, sound, or video images relate to that on a display can be accessed directly from the display. So, for example, instructional software, interactive or electronic storybooks, reference materials, graphics, digitized videos, DVDs, edited or created movies, collection of movie clips, the list goes on and on. And if you happen to follow my directions at the beginning of this vlog and you click the hypertext link to take you to the YouTube video of the planet song, then you participated in my little demonstration of hypermedia. So the question now is, what role does hypermedia play in learning? Well, it's very valuable, especially in the sciences, because demonstration procedures like labs, especially when real experiments might be very expensive or dangerous, kids can witness firsthand, well, not firsthand, but through video, those experiments that they may never otherwise have ever been able to see. So hypermedia can be particularly useful in an online course like we're in. We've seen our professors video record lectures or instructions or even vlogs such like this one. Hypermedia serves to illustrate examples of topics discussed in the classroom, situations, software demonstrations. The ideas go on and on. So, if we've ever participated in an online tutorial where we need to learn how to do something, we're taking advantage of hypermedia. So what's the advantages of using hypermedia? Well, according to our textbook, Roblier and Doring, hypermedia increases motivation. Most people seem to enjoy using it. It has the ability to encourage students to be proactive learners. Another advantage are the flexible learning modes. Students can draw on a diverse set of tools or various intelligences, as Howard Gardner would explain. A student that might not be very good at writing might be able to document very well through video or pictures what they've learned. And who's to say which is better? Is writing better or just showing that you've learned something? Video podcasting is an example of a version of hypermedia that students also enjoy. I found a research article, a literature review actually, on research by Robin Kay, and Kay suggests that video podcasts were welcomed by students to enhance their learning. Students describe video podcasts as useful, helpful, and and effective as well as enjoyable, motivating, and stimulating. Kay suggests that numerous studies have shown that study habits increased when students had access to podcasts and used them frequently, especially prior to testing. I know personally from my own children using just audio podcasts or even recording their lectures audio, through audio. They're able to listen to them before they go to bed. They can listen to them in the car while they're driving. There's a lot of ways to retain information, especially when you hear it outside the classroom setting. So some studies have even shown that a substantial positive correlation between the use of video podcasts and testing, which I personally have seen in my own kids. Film and video production is a great way also to get students to engage in collaborative as well as multimodal literacy practices. According to Husby and van der Zanden, greater instructional flexibility and possibility for nonlinear production are considered positive benefits in approaching text production situated in filmmaking. So without a concerted effort to bring filmmaking into the classroom, it is possible that students will be without essential skills for technological futures that have yet to be imagined. And I found that very powerful because there's so much learning that goes involved, that happens, I suppose. I should rephrase that. There's so much learning potential that can happen when students are required to make their own films. Especially if they're demonstrating a procedure or a debate or persuasive argument. There's just a huge correlation between having to put all that effort besides just research and writing when they have to make it into a film. I think the learning goes into that deeper depth, or that doesn't even make sense. The learning goes into a higher level of Bloom's taxonomy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So another advantage of using Hypermedia is that it can be a powerful cognitive tool. I found a study by, and I'm going to slaughter this name, Zaid Yildirim. Results revealed that students found the strategy of using Hypermedia as a cognitive tool to be effective for constructing an understanding of the content. And in this particular study, 28 students were followed, and all but 3 of them indicated that they preferred this particular approach to learning to traditional instruction because they are more active and can construct their own knowledge. So to be able to implement Hypermedia into the classroom, there are a few requirements for design and development, and a few key tools are going to be necessary before a teacher can launch into instruction through Hypermedia. For example, at the most basic level, a computer, keyboard, mouse, monitor are probably the most essential, and then if you can get an interactive whiteboard or add to it a video camera, digital cameras, scanners, microphones, speakers, software, the list goes on. And there's some more ideas in that on page 182 of our textbook. The ideas of integrating video presentations are endless. Roblyer and Doring list a few ideas from our text, and one of them that I particularly love, especially in my content area of reading instruction, is interactive stories. This method of video learning supports and enhances reading skills and reinforces literacy skills. So it's not only critical and essential for all reading and learning levels, but it's especially critical for struggling readers or ELL students. Another idea for integrating is persuasive presentations, interactive presentations using images, charts, videos to persuade others of a position on an issue. This is especially fun when you can have an interactive whiteboard to get the hands-on experience of manipulating and seeing what happens. So another way of integrating video is through vodcasts, such as what we're doing right now, student interviews, professional interviews. The list could go on. And this can all be done now through FaceTime. I mean, you don't have to live within, especially for elementary students, you don't have to live right next door or in the same house as your expert. You can find them and set up a conference call and do all kinds of interviews via FaceTime. So that's pretty exciting. You can do video problem simulations, so viewing videos that pose problems requiring math, science, geography skills, and view videos to create solutions. Another way to integrate is, like I mentioned before, is filmmaking, encouraging students to help develop digital literacy skills by creating short films. I know that I've learned a lot just by creating this video podcast or video blog today. There we have many tools that are usually quite often built right into our computers. You know, iPads have iMovie, GarageBand. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for students to be able to create short films that don't require expensive camera equipment. I mean, even most of our basic cell phones have some type of video capability. So, videos for visual literacy is another idea, and kind of like stories, interactive stories. This is a way to analyze videos that exist already. So maybe analyzing news stories and ads and show them how visual images communicate biases and make persuasive arguments. And I've seen this personally because I do a lot in Photoshop, and teaching kids, especially young kids, about photo manipulation and what is real and what's not real is a good way to have like an internet safety talk and show, you know, just and even body image. I mean, you can take this into all types of conversations. So analyzing, you know, having deep discussions on what, you know, what's behind that photo, you know, and it can be pretty powerful learning. So another idea is to do a student-produced documentary. So creating mini documentaries on all kinds of historical topics, that would be a lot of fun. I think especially older elementary students would really enjoy that. One of my personal favorites that I found and studied through, I think it was 502 last semester, was creating a virtual field trip. And I had such a great time creating it, even though it was a lot of work to build the website and create this virtual field trip. I felt like not only did I, as the teacher putting it all together, learn so much, I felt like my students would be able to really have a good time, because not only are they taking a tour through, mine was on Washington, D.C., which Idaho is quite a ways away from. You know, that's not something I can just throw my students on an airplane and go tour very easily or, you know, affordably. So by creating this video or virtual field trip, the kids were able to be able to have a really good experience in learning about our nation's capital. And as I looked at other people's virtual field trips from that assignment, it was very clear that we could take tours through history, you know, go back in time and study, you know, different cultures and faraway lands, things we may never ever get to see in person, especially if it's back in history. So there's so much to be learned through history and other cultures, and a virtual field trip is a great way to document that. And lastly, I found a very powerful quote that made me stop and think. And going back to the filmmaking, which I just think could be a very powerful learning tool, is a quote I found by Dean Sharesky. "A child who goes through school and never makes a video is akin to going through school and never writing a story." And I just wanted to leave that with you and just make you give you some food for thought in the power of hypermedia in our classrooms today. Thank you for watching. Bye.